All right, we live. All right, everybody. Welcome to the voice of college football, Ohio State, man. You got your guy right here, Cleveland Mike, and your boy, Cam. We want to thank Mark Rogers for having us on today to talk about this Ohio State and Maryland game. Cam, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Little up and down, but this is another game that we saw. I feel like Ohio State showed that they got championship mettle. It didn't look good. It didn't look like how we expect to see Ohio State team, especially under Ryan Day, come out and put up 40, 50 balls on people. But, hey, we played solid defense. And the offense got rolling when we needed them to late in the second half, and we pulled away and covered. So, yeah.
Agreed, man. You know, this is what we have been seeing. We've been used to. Normally, we're used to Ohio State just hitting on all cylinders out the gate in games like this, at least on offense. And that's not what we saw. We see that this is a second half team. Kyle, for some reason, he's able to perform when the pressure's on him, man. So, I mean, that's what we was able to see. But, you know, I kind of want to go through and talk about the good, then talk about the bad, the ugly, you know, and then how can we fix this, right? And then let's talk about like the national perspective of this or the state of the program in the Big Ten as well, you know. So let's talk about the good. You see Chip Trainum coming out there, man, getting those hard yards. You see the difficulty and what the O-line was doing, right? The O-line was not performing, and he was getting those extra hard yards. You saw him right out the gate, pushing the pile. You see him, the hole closed up. He was able to bounce it out and get a nice run. Talk about Chip Trainum, man. How do you feel? I've always been of the one saying that I think he's RB1.
I thought Chip did a good job, you know. Like me and you both agreed on the same things. That we both think he's RB1. I thought Chip did a good job for basically what he was given to work with. You know what I mean? Our offensive line is still a work in progress on the run game. But they seem to be pretty have their stuff together on the pass game for the most part. As far as pass protection goes, I think Kyle gave up a cheap sack that's going to go against them when he didn't step up in the pocket. But Chip did what we needed him to do, man. It wasn't pretty for the O-line, but he's always falling forward. He's going to give us his 2-3 yards. Very rarely do you see Chip give us a negative play, and I think that goes to props over to Tony Alford with our running backs on basically getting north-south. So wasn't the type of day we like to see from the running back position, but I think there were some positives to take from that.
Definitely some positives to take from this. I'm just glad that we finally told that man that he can play running back at Ohio State, man. And the biggest, you know, thing out of today that we could take is Marv being Marv. Even with a bump ankle, man, Marv shows up and he gives you the things that you need to go ahead, win the game, get those first downs. You can count on him catching the difficulty, you know, the difficult passes, the body control. Marv just being Marv, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've come accustomed to seeing Marv making those big splash plays that we've seen with CJ. I think that's just a testament to Kyle kind of getting more comfortable and just saying, you know what, like if he's even, he's leaving. If he's covered, he's open type of deal. And I think that as Kyle gets more comfortable just throwing the ball in the tighter windows. As Kyle gets more comfortable with understanding, seeing what he's seeing on the field, we will see more games like this, like 163 yards. I think he had 2 touchdowns. I think we'll see more of that production from Marvin Harrison Jr. because, I mean, if you watched all 22, I mean, he's been cooking all year, bro. So we're kind of just waiting on 6 to get on that board, get on the train and that board. And it was kind of rough in the first half, and then the second half he picked it up. So let's just hope that we keep building on that.
Definitely, man. And we also got to get on the defensive side of the ball, man, because the defense kept us in this game and they was making plays. When our offense couldn't score, they was making the plays. Start off with Proctor getting the interception, sitting there reading the eyes of the quarterback. You know, just this is what we expected him to do. Be able to take a pick and take it to the house. You know, use your speed, using your athleticism, showing that you're twitched up. And that's what we got to see out of Josh Proctor. And you know what? I was one of the ones years ago who was just like, man, he just not putting it together. I was very critical of him. You know, on our show on Best Damn Media on Buckeye BS, I had to give my apology, man. Our guy Q said that the real estate was closed, but I heard the market's back open on that. So I'm buying some property out there on Proctor Island.
Yeah, hey, first and foremost, man, especially last year, given the games that we had against Michigan and the games that we had against Georgia, let's give the flowers to Coach Perry Eliano because Coach Eliano is a corners coach by trade that came here with Tim Walton and it came here and switched the position that he was coaching at Cincinnati. I mean, he had Jim Thorpe on his resume. He had Sauce Gardner on his resume. So, and he came to Ohio State and played in coaching the safeties. And what we're told, a safety-driven defense. And I think that the safety room is the best performing room right now on the team, if you ask me. Lathan Ransom and Josh Proctor, back-to-back weeks, making the plays that we need on the defense, knowing what's going on, helping out in a run game, filling the alleys, doing what they got to do. I love it. And Josh Proctor, I mean, I'm happy for him because you know how we are Ohio State fans. I'll admit it. We love you, and we love hard, and we criticize hard. So Josh Proctor got all of the criticism, he got all of the hate, and now he's gonna get all the love because he stuck through, and he's coming through. And as a graduate senior, and he's been a player. He's been a guy that we thought he always could be, that he was recruited at Ohio State to be, and it's just beautiful to see it. So shout out Josh Proctor.
Definitely, man. Shout out Josh Proctor. And, you know, you talked about Lathan Ransom. He was coming down, smacking people, you know. I mean, that's what we saw from him last year when he flashed in the beginning of the year. And it's just good to see him because, you know, it was just like at the end of the year, his draft stock just seemed to plummet, man. And right now, it's on an upward trajectory. We also got to talk about Denzel Burke, man. You know, I think that the one PI call or whatever, I think that was ticky-tack because they was both going back and forth, right? But other than that, you know, they tried to pick on him again, and he showed this is not the island that you want to play on, man. So shout out Denzel Burke, being consistent, still showing that he's one of the top cornerbacks in the Big Ten, also in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, as I'm watching this game, like I'm thinking, do we see a better passing game or a better wide receiver core for the rest of the season?
We knew that this was the best skill position that we have went up against since the season, even better than Notre Dame's. And we knew that you know, what since like Loxley has been there, what they have recruited at the wide receiver position has just been amazing, bro. They got athletes, yeah.
So Talia Tagovailoa, he goes 21 for 41, 196 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions for under 5 yards a throw. So he was the leading passer in the Big Ten before he came to Ohio Stadium. So, I mean, BIA back. That's all right.
Cam, I know you've been waiting to say that for the longest, man. We was like, Hey, we had the pop quiz in Western Kentucky, right? Then we was like, okay, then we'll have an actual, our first test with Notre Dame. And then we came in in this Maryland game and said, this is really going to be a test, and you're talking about is BIA back? And I showed it, man. I mean, to be honest, even when you want to talk about the plays that Sonny Styles man that gave up or Hancock gave up, guess what? They were in phase. They were right there. They had their hand on the ball. It was just great plays by those wide receivers, and you got to give those guys credit, right? Mm-hmm. But think about all the other years in between 2019 and 2023. We weren't doing it. We was getting cooked. So
I mean, that's the age-old saying. Like, hey, they on scholarship too. They get NIL too. They they go make plays. You know what I mean? But the biggest thing that I got from this secondary is we don't flinch. Like last year, we give up an explosive or something like that, and you'll see the body language, whatever. We give up a play, and we see Josh Proctor just stone face. Denzel Burke, stone face. Lathan Ransom, stone face. Jordan Hancock, stone face. Next play mentality. And I love that. That is a mentally tough defense. That is the signs of a mentally tough defense. And I love that mentality that we have. We're going to need that going into the Big Ten.
Definitely going to need that going into the Big Ten. And I'll tell you someone who's been getting a lot of criticism. And I've been saying, man, I think what he's been doing in run defense is not being talked about enough. And that is JTT, man. JT Tuimoloau. He has been killing it in the running game. I have been trying to express this to people for the longest. Yeah, you want the pass rush and all of that. But what he has been doing in the run defense is elite, bro. You're talking about reading the tackle that's pulling and coming straight down. Yeah, maybe on like Joe Klett even said on the TV. On statistics, he might not get that. But he made the play. That was the reason why Sonny Styles, Cody Simon was able to come out there. And then you're still talking about he was able to get his hand on the ball and things like that. Still making plays, and then he still ended up with a sack as well.
Oh, sorry, my allergies are going crazy. But yeah, bro, I mean, JTT is a guy that we all know. Highly touted 5-star. But he's kind of a different player than we've seen from our previous star edges, right? We always have the pretty pass rushers, getting all the sacks and all that. But he's kind of more in the trenches and doing the dirty work of stuff that don't show up on the stat sheet at a highly elite level that doesn't really catch the eye of the average fan, but those NFL scouts see that. So he is an anchor on the edge. He's never get reached. Anytime they send like if they're in a deep formation and they're sending that tight end over, he wrong arms, he's spilling it, getting TFLs. So JTT is playing elite and allowing our safeties to replace that edge and come down and make those plays that we saw just like against Notre Dame when we saw Lathan Ransom and Sonny Styles come on when that running back bounces, JTT spilling that outside. So many examples of what he does that doesn't show up on the stat sheet that helps other guys succeed.
Yeah. And, what would you Ken will be back, but I mean, he's right about JTT, man. And to be honest, I want to talk about like in the chat. Tell me, what would you give this defense in the chat? What would you give the defense overall a grade, man? I mean, honestly, like I feel like I give them an A-, and it could have been an A+ if the linebackers like played up to the Ohio State caliber level. But you're talking about a defense that got 2 interceptions, a touchdown as well, was physical, laying the wood. I mean, getting tackles for loss, getting sacks, what we said we wanted to see, right? I mean, Michael Hall as well making those. What would you give the grade for the defense, Cam?
I'm giving them an A. Solid A. Like, Maryland is not a bad football team. Maryland had the #1 passing offense in the Big Ten. They have a fifth-year quarterback in Tagovailoa. Mike Locksley is an offensive-minded guy, very good. They just had 2 guys come off last week against Indiana, who everyone loves to tell us that we almost lost to or should have lost to, whatever. Both those wide receivers went for a $120 and above last week against Indiana. And we're looking at the receiver now. Both those guys 59 and 49 yards. So, I mean, there's really nothing to say. Now, I'd like to see us get a little bit more work on our contain a little bit more with the scrambling quarterback, especially when we got to go play the team up north. But we gave up 100 yards rushing on 35 attempts. That's 3 yards a carry. And we gave up 196 yards passing on 4.8 yards an attempt with 2 picks. That's an A+ defense for me. What else do we expect out of our defense? And the one touchdown that we gave up was because of a special teams mishap. So really, they earned 10 points. So,
yeah, I mean, you definitely have a point, man. In the chat, let me know what you think. What are you grading? I just went ahead and I put a poll out for you all. Let me know your grade. Let us know on that poll. So we do have to talk about the bad, man, and Ohio State fans, it is okay to be critical of your team. Ohio State fans, it does not mean that you hate your team. It is okay to be critical and want better from your team. So let's get into the bad. The O-line, man, you just kept seeing run game getting stuff, running backs having to make too many of a plays. You're talking about even when they're breaking that one tackle and making that one guy miss that they're supposed to, you got a whole gang of guys you're seeing on, highlights and different things like that. When they're replaying the play, you're seeing the linebackers just completely running free. And this is what we have seen every week. This is a huge concern, Cam. What's your thoughts about this O-line, man?
I don't know. It's like when you watch it on film, it's like it seems like it's so simple, right? Like it seems like hey, you want to chip, you want the guard to chip or help the center, and you want to double team, and then you got to climb to the linebackers. But it's almost like the linebackers are just like screaming down because they know that it's not going to happen. Maybe we need to implement a little bit of RPO in the offense to help with that situation and kind of freeze those linebackers to help our linemen get some more time to climb up, because right now linebackers are screaming down the line because let's be honest, like we're not as twitched up as we usually are at the offensive line position. So I think teams are just taking advantage of that, especially on the stretch run plays when we try to get to the edge. They're literally just running by. So I don't know. I don't know if it's an ability thing. Like, do they have the ability to climb to the linebacker? Are they athletic enough? Or is it a philosophy or a coaching thing that's preventing them to do that? And as the weeks go on, I'm going to have to go more towards the coaching. So,
yeah, I definitely agree, man, about the part where you're saying, I don't think that we have the athletic O-line that we are actually used to. I really don't believe that we have that. I'm watching, and to be honest, I even saw Matt Jones, man. I saw it. The linebacker's right there. If he just runs right up to him and gets it, I mean, you're talking about a big game from Chip on that run, because that linebacker won't be able to seal the edge like he was and fill that gap. So we definitely have to get better there. But also, I see a lot of people criticizing Justin Fry, telling our guy, our people over there at Menace, telling them guys like, hey, y'all literally like said Justin Fry was that guy. I think more of the issue is not Fry. You got to remember, these are stud guys, right? So definitely remember that part.
Yeah. So we haven't really seen Fry get his feet wet with his guys that he wanted, that he's recruiting, that he's promoting to come into Ohio State. But hey, man, listen, we heard the same stuff about DeJuan Jones, right? About how he was lazy, he couldn't get his footwork together, and he was this and that. Now he's in the NFL, doing great for the Cleveland Browns. He played great for Ohio State last year, and I think that Fry has something to do with that. So let's be patient with Fry. Offensive line is not where it needs to be in the run game, but let's get some positive. I don't think that they're that bad in the pass game. I think the pass pro has been great. No, I wouldn't say great. I'd say it's been good. Our pass pro has been good enough for us to win games. And honestly, Mike, that was the main concern in camp, wasn't it?
Yeah, we
going to be
thought that
able?
we were going to be able to run the ball more better than what we were going to be able to do in
Yeah,
pass
and it's
pro.
flip flop. So, uh, we'll see. I don't
Maybe
know.
that might be the issue. Maybe they spent too much time in the offseason working on pass pro and not
Yeah,
enough time in the run game.
yeah.
Maybe that could be the issue. But
So, yeah.
also we got to talk about the linebacker play. We have to talk about it because, like I said earlier, this has been going on for too long. You're talking about every game. Jim Knowles switched up this year. The defense, right? His words was, especially in his past press conference during the bye or coming off of the bye, he said that when his defense, he had to call plays to put players in position to make plays, right? And that's what he did with Steele, Chambers, and Tommy Eichenberg. What I'm realizing is he's not doing that this year. And they aren't able to make the plays that they're supposed to be able to make.
Well, we're playing a lot less aggressive, right? So Tommy and Steele are playing a lot more traditional linebacker play because we're not sending an all-out blitz. We're not doing as many exotic fire zones and things like that to try to build pressure. If you see, Jim Knowles has kind of switched his philosophy when he's doing on defense because he's like, look, we're going to have a bend but don't break mentality. We're not giving up the big play. If you're going to score on Ohio State, you're going to dink and dunk down the field 5-10 yards and execute for 4 quarters, and you'll eventually make mistakes. And that's exactly what happened with Maryland. So last year, it was more of we saw a lot of Tommy sacks. We saw a lot of Steele running around in space and doing that. Now it's more read and react, and they're kind of becoming a mark on the defense, especially Steele. So I don't know. But my main concern, Mike, with me and you talk about all the time, is like, hey, you told us that Steele and Tommy are on the field because of their cerebral capacity to learn your defense and to run it. And now we are seeing, last week we hear Steele say, oh, we didn't know the checks, we didn't know the adjustments for Notre Dame. And then this week they're getting cooked again, not looking like they really know what to do. So it's like, why wouldn't we play our 5-star linebacker if this is the type of play we're going to get from 6-year seniors? Why cook CJ Hicks on the bench right now? It's my concern.
I definitely agree. I don't understand why, apparently, when you talk about CJ Hicks, man, the people do not like it when you bring that name up. But just to not get any reps, to think that he doesn't deserve to be in there on passing downs and stuff like that. To think that on that goal line, like I think CJ Hicks could have made that tackle on Lil Tua, but hey, it is what it is, man. And let's talk about the bad, man. The first half of the offense, man. What is up with Ohio State in these first halves? You're seeing it over and over and over, struggling in the first half. I mean, all offseason, all we talked about is McCord and these wide receivers. They've been roommates. They've been throwing the balls together. They came in together. Like they should be cooking. The chemistry should be there. Why is it not there? Why is the chemistry not there in the offense? Why does it seem like he's not able to anticipate the throws? Like the timing, his timing is off, holding the ball a little too long. What is up with this in the first half, man?
You know what? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those. Maybe that's just our stick this year, bro. Like maybe you know what I mean. Like we're just a second half football team this year, and that's our identity. So, we would love to see him come out and throw the ball, but it seems to me that like Kyle's an extremely dependent on rhythm. He needs to have a script ready that is going to basically get his eyes ready, get his eyes together, get the ball out of his hand, have that feeling. And then it's kind of a snowball effect throughout the game where we saw him go off in the second half today. for excuse me, for 19 for 29, 320 and 2 tutties. So if somebody would have said, Mike, after that first quarter, Kyle McCord is going to finish this game with 320 yards and 2 touchdowns, what would you say? After he was 1 for 8, he was? Like,
Yeah.
you'd have been like, BS. Like, we're about to be in a dogfight. We're not about to pull away. This is about to be one of those thrillers, right? But
Right.
he came out second half and did what he did. Now, I want to know what is going on with his throwing motion. What is going on with his mechanics? That's making him underthrow some of these balls that he's doing. But I don't know, man. Like he's just got to get better week by week, bro.
Definitely have to get better week by week. I mean, one thing that I think about Ryan Day, or some things that I heard like Ryan Day doesn't really mess with the throwing mechanics. But here's my thing: you told us that his special trait was just him being consistent. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to know, was he consistent in practice because of holding the ball long, knowing that he couldn't get hit, and waiting on the wide receivers to get open? I just felt like in the second half, it seemed like even the touchdown that got called back for the Xavier Johnson, right? It looked like he anticipated the throw. He threw it in the tight window. And in the first half, he wasn't doing that, right? So, I mean, I don't know if it's having to see the defense for a whole entire half for it to click for him. But I think that that's something that they need to work on in the field room, on him being able to process faster.
It seems to me that he may be in his own head about making mistakes early.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever we see any ounce of pressure on him or any type of like, oh, the situation is calling for me to do something or make a play, he makes it.
Right.
Like he starts making throws that he didn't been making in the first half, second half. So it's like if we could get him to have that mentality the whole time, then I think that we will start seeing Kyle McCord blossom. Also, he's seeing things late. That throw to Marvin Harrison, the underthrow. In the real time, it looked like an underthrow, but really he threw the ball 50, 60 yards. He just saw it late, and Marvin's like 70 yards downfield. So he needs to work on his eyes. But there's just so much potential in him in this wide receiver core that I'm seeing, because it's like we just won 34-17. I bet you if we pop the tape on, there's a lot of chicken on a bone to where we could have had a 50 burger, something like that. And I've been seeing that week by week. So eventually, will those gaps and those missed opportunities and those missed plays start turning into fruition and start becoming those plays? And will Kyle be that guy that we expect him to be? But he had a good game today. So
I agree with that, man. Definitely hit that on the head. But we also got to get into the ugly, man, of this. Special teams. I don't believe that Emeka needs to be back there anymore, especially hopefully we'll be able to get him some rest. And with this injury, you realize you don't need to put those type of hits on your number 2 wide receiver, which we have been saying all year. Hopefully, Jaden Ballard can work on that so that he can become more dynamic, because we've seen a flash the one time that he caught it, and we like, man, Emeka hasn't done that all season, right? We haven't seen that in a while. So, but there was also like some bad things, right? The fake punt to Cody Simon. To me, my issue is this: if Chip,
do you think that was a fake punt? I think that was a botched snap.
You think so?
I'm because when Joel Klatt said that he thought that the ball hit the center's butt and it like messed up. I don't think that was a design.
It looked like he meant to do it it looked like his arm was trying to go to the side. To me, when I watched it, like it looked like, yeah, he hit himself, but it's still like it seemed like he wasn't trying to go straight. I just don't understand how, like, if he was going straight, I don't think he hit himself where he would have.
Yeah.
And I also just my thing is this: if Chip Trainum can run, and let's say it wasn't a fake punt, right? But if Chip Trainum can run on kickoff, if he can run down there on kickoff, right? Why isn't he down there on punt? So that way, if you did do a fake, you have someone who's an athlete who can actually probably get that first down or something like that, right? In that way for the future, because now if you replace him, or if you do want to put him in there on a fake, it's a tail.
If any other coach on our roster, position room, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, put up the type of performances that our special teams does on a weekly basis for years now, would have been fired a week ago. But the fact that Parker Fleming still has a job at Ohio State is a case for the FBI, because I can't figure it out, bro. I cannot figure it out. What are we doing on special teams, bro? And me, I'm old. I'm 30, 32, right? Like you old, like, well, I'm from the Tressel era. Like special teams is never an issue at Ohio State. And now it's like it's like you gotta hold your breath to kick the fucking ball off. So
yeah, I'll be 35
I don't know, like, bro. So it's just like, man, like, why can't we? It's gonna be great. Just be great. Like, kick the ball off, control the field position. Like, get down in the late zone on kickoff and tackle him and be excited. Like, I just don't understand why we're accepting such mediocrity in the special teams game. And the special teams is why we lost to Georgia. So,
yep. It's one of the reasons for sure.
Wasn't there a stick about how Noah Ruggles wasn't our long range kicker? And we had another guy.
Our long range kicker, he wasn't.
Yeah,
but also,
and Parker Fleming wanted to put him in there, knowing that we had another kid hitting 60-yarders in practice like it was nothing. That was literally why he was there. Like,
that wasn't even really that to me wasn't really even the egregious part. The egregious part is in the off season when you're working on those type of drills with your kickers, the pressure, those type of moments, right? And it actually means something. Those winner loser days when, in the spring, like the losing team had to do extra laps and stuff like that in the spring, right? Noah Ruggles was not at Ohio State campus. We heard that he was in Hawaii. So how are you supposed to perform in the pressure cooker when you ain't been grinding with the team when the pressure was on, right? So, I mean, and to allow that, I mean, maybe he needed it. I don't know. But our special teams have to get better. And I think that we have way too many twitched up, dynamic athletes that can actually make plays on special teams where we don't need a Meke Ibuka out there.
Like, why isn't Brandon Ennis on every single kickoff, every single kick return, every single punt return? Like, why isn't Noah Rogers running down on kickoff, making big hits? Why don't we have all of these twitched up athletes?
We got like 3 guys.
Like, let's put our first round wide receiver at punt returner. Like, that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know.
Yeah, whatever, but let's also, I mean, honestly, we kind of talked about like what we think we could do to fix the special teams, man. But what are the fixes that you believe need to happen? We got to talk about the fixes. What is the fix for the offensive line? What needs to happen? What can they do during the season to get better in the run game?
I just think that I just think that we need to just do straight power run game, straight gap football, power run game, man for man, hat for hat, like straight old school downhill power run game to help our linemen get hats on a hat, because they're not athletic enough, they're not twitchy enough to go sideline to sideline and to match guys in space. They're getting ran around, they're getting ran under, they're getting ran over. Like, it ain't working. So if we're going to run the ball, let's do that phone booth boxing, keep it all tight, and then just run the ball and get our 4 or 5 yards. Because, I mean, I understand what they want to do. They want to stretch and run the zone run scheme so we can have guys like Trey with elite speed, hit lanes and get home.
Mm-hmm.
But it might have to be a running game out to turn into that Woody Hayes 3 yards in a cloud of dust type ball until we can figure out like what's going on, because we can't. They're just not getting hats on our hat. So.
But to me, that is Ohio football. Like, I remember growing up, like, all the Ohio coaches, it was like you line up man to man, and we're going to find out who can't do their job. Like, we're going to find out who can't hold their own, man. And that's how I always liked it, because I hated losing because of somebody else, you know, like, or losing a matchup or something because of somebody else. Put us man to man. Let me be my guy. I'll be my guy all game, you know? And I just believe, I agree with you. We definitely need to get back to that power run game, because I think that we have backs like a Mayan and a Chip who can eat off of that.
For sure.
Let's also talk about the fixes. Actually, I kind of want to ask you this question because kind of came up on Twitter, right? And our halftime space. If Devin Brown gets you 6 touchdowns but 2 turnovers, how are you feeling?
Say that
like again. He starts the game like he starts off the game hot. He gets you those drives that you want. He's able to start those games hot, but he still finishes the game with 2 turnovers.
What, 6 touchdowns?
Yeah, like he's averaging 6. Let's say Devin Brown would average you 6 touchdowns, whether it's running or throwing a touchdown pass.
I'm taking the 6 tutties.
And 2 turnovers?
Absolutely. With this defense, for sure.
Okay.
Dumb question.
I mean, hey, some Buckeye fans say that it's crazy.
What?
Because we've heard about like Devin Brown not being consistent. We heard about like he's able to make the big plays. We've also heard about like when he was in during the QB battle, the efficiency on how the offense was able to move or whatever. But we do know about how he makes those type of mistakes.
He's still positive,
right? From time to time.
So.
All right, just wanted to ask that, man. What do y'all think in the chat? If y'all have a comment on that, definitely post it in the chat and let us know. Let's talk about the state of the program, man. With what you saw today, should Ohio State fans limit their expectations on the season? Let's talk about the expectations of Ohio State. The expectations of Ohio State is to, win every game, as Ryan Day said, beat that team up north, win the Big Ten championship, and then go win a natty. What should Ohio State fans? Do you feel Ohio State fans should limit their expectations?
Absolutely not. For what?
I mean,
we got an 85. We're number 2 in blue chip ratio this year. We got a 5-star quarterback, got a 5-star running back. Donovan Jackson, 5-star at guard. We got Marvin Harrison, a top 2 draft pick. We got Egbuka, another first-round draft pick. We got top 5 passing defense in the league, in college football that just shut down a prolific passing game in Maryland in front of the nation, and we're not even playing at our best. Why can't we win a natty? Who do you watch and think that we can't touch them?
No, I mean, I'm just asking the question. I just wanted to put the state of the question out there, man. Should Ohio State fans limit their expectations? Like, with what you saw on the offensive side, like, do you think that if a Penn State or team up north get up 14-0, where, Maryland was close to doing, right, can this team fight back and do what they did again, like to a Penn State or a team up north?
We've seen it already. We've seen them go down 10 and not flinch. And then just put their head down and go to work and cover 34-17. We see them go down against Notre Dame. And when they needed to make a play, they did on both sides of the ball. We've seen them do these things.
Okay.
Like, we've seen it. I believe in this team, bro. I've seen it. Like, before, like, our team last year, we would have folded in a couple of them situations.
Because some people will be of the belief that, it's just, yes, we've done it against Notre Dame. Yes, we did it against Maryland. And yes, we give both of those teams the credit. But when you're talking about the top 6 teams in the nation in Penn State, like of that caliber, will they be able to do it against them? And I think that could possibly be a question. Because that the running game has to get together. I do believe that if the running game don't get together, we could have some issues, bro. And
I mean, you're talking about Penn State. I mean, their running game ain't that much better than
no,
ours.
no.
They're not playing
running
up to the par like everybody was hyping them up to be.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not coming to Ohio Stadium and throwing that ball around nowhere.
Okay, so you telling me, hey, so BIA
bro,
is back,
bro. Our defense in Columbus, hey.
So as long as the offense and the special teams not putting us in bad spots, we should be good.
I don't see why we can't win every game. And I'm almost ready to call them silver bullets, almost. But
all right,
we need our linebackers to come outside. But once our linebackers come, I'm gonna call them silver bullets.
All right. Well, I gotta ask you about some recruits, man. Offensive recruits. Do you think they like what they're seeing out of here, and would there be cause for concerns? Can other teams negatively recruit Ohio State on the offensive side of the ball now?
I mean, they can, like there's certain, but like, here's the thing, bro. Like, we could get negatively recruited because it's like, oh, Kyle McCord. Look at Kyle McCord. Look at Ohio State. They don't look like they usually do. They don't look like they usually like which is the usual is a first round draft pick, second overall quarterback right now that's breaking records in the NFL, being prolific, that was coached by Ryan Day himself and a Ryan Day offense, and was on the NFL Network talking about Ryan Day and the things that he teaches them to be prepared in college was setting him up for success in Houston. So right. If you want to negative recruit that, go for it, bro. This is Ohio State, bro. Proof is in the pudding, bro. Check the paychecks in the league. Check the NILs. Check everybody's draft grade with that scarlet and gray on and negative recruit that, bro. I ain't hearing nothing about no negative recruit, bro. Our brand is our brand. Our standard is our standard. And our pedigree is higher than a lot of teams. So what can you really say? Kyle McCord's not having the best season that we expected him to have. But I bet you if you go down his list with those numbers, I bet you he's better than a lot of teams that you would think that would be up there, that would be in a position to even negatively recruit us. So whatever. Let him say that.
We got Brian Legree in the chat, man. He said OSU gonna get smacked by Penn and UM, maybe Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know how to get this super chat up here. If I did, I would put it on the screen, but it's just what I'm working with right now, guys. We are working to make sure that we are able to put these comments on the screen because I like engaging with you all. So make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button. Brian, again, we appreciate you for your super chat, man. If y'all want to, y'all keep that up. Also, let us know if you got some questions. Smash that like button. If you got any questions, go ahead and put them in the super chat. I mean, in the super chat or in the chat. I will start asking those questions, and me and Cam will go ahead and get answers. I do see some comments in here. Let's see. All right. Cam Johnson is saying, I think we could win next week without them. I'm not sure who he's talking about. And David Hastings is saying offensively needs to get stronger. Definitely agree with that. If y'all got any other questions, comments, let us know. Let us know. Cam, you got any final thoughts?
Hey man, look. I like my Buckeye team this year. I'm a little jaded. I mean, I guess I'm a little, biased because I'm a defensive guy. I like the fact that we could depend on our defense to allow our offense to grow. I think this is the best situation that we could have been in. If we were going to be in a situation, is allowing our offense to find their rhythm week by week and our defense playing lights out. So it was the complete opposite the last 2 years, and we were ringless. So let's see what happens this year.
Agreed. We got Daniel Henry in the chat. I want to know what you think about this, Cam, because he definitely gives a good thing, a good fix. When we was talking about the fix, he said, give Tegra a look at guard. Put a fire under Jones or Jackson's A double snakes. Honestly, I like that. Like, I mean, I remember like the guys over at Minutes, they've even talked about it. Like, the one thing that you have as a coach to use against your players is PT. That's not something that they want. You're putting on film, or I mean, now when you go to your NFL interview, hey, I saw you didn't play one game or you didn't start one game, but you weren't injured. What happened with that? That's not the type of questions that you want to be asked. But if that's what it takes, do it, because I mean, maybe they are feeling entitled. Maybe they feel like, hey, the guys behind me just can't beat me out or whatever. That might light a fire under these guys. What you think about that, man? Giving some of these other guys a try next week?
I mean, if we was gonna do that, we should have did that already. Like, we got a new center in there. People forgetting that our center is new too. I don't think this is the time to be makeshifting and mismatching with an offensive line, and we're already two in to the conference, 2 games into the conference. So the decision's a decision. Now, unless it's just egregious like play where it's just like somebody's unplayable, then that makes sense. But I just don't see what the benefit would be to do that at this point, especially at offensive line. But hey, get some tick to the inside guys. I mean, we heard about a couple freshmen that was good, that was making some noise in the in camp. But me personally, I understand both sides. I can see why you would want to do it, like against a Purdue or something. I guess you could do that, but me personally, I would.
All right, man. And then I guess our last question that Daniel Henry asked is, how serious was the Mecca injury, man? I know he came out the tent. He was trying to work it out. They said it was like a knee contusion or something like that. Honestly, I hope that for the Purdue game, he's able to go ahead and rest. I think you should just rest him. I know that these guys want to show that they're tough, but this is a long season, right? And I think it's Purdue. I think XJ is good enough to cook because every time XJ's out there, he's making plays. So I would like to see XJ get a try to start and rest Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm always, if you could go, you could go, because we don't want to have any type of mishaps or any type of rust going into that Penn State game. So if you could play, suit up, I'll maybe restrict the snap counts or something. But everybody that can play should be playing against Purdue next week, especially going there, Lafayette. We got horror stories at that place as Buckeye fans. So, hey, suit up. That's all I got to say.
Yep. Hey, I want to thank everybody for showing up. We will be here live every Saturday, man. You can follow Cam. Cam, tell the people where they can follow you at.
You can follow me on Twitter at IKnowThings19.
All right. And you can follow me at 216_wildboy on Twitter as well. You can catch me and Cam Sunday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time for Buckeye BS at the Best Damn Media. Again, we want to thank Mark Rogers for having us. We will be here every Saturday after the Ohio State game. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification button, so that way you know every time we go on live. Thank you all for coming, and y'all have a great day.